Oh, hello there. Yes, well, I survived to the weekend, I'm pleased to say. Now, unfortunately, today I've got to make a second video about James Esses. I don't want to, but he made me. He forced me to. Anyway, yesterday he was parading his wares and dining out and all of those kind of phrases that we might use for various people we're not very keen on. He went on GB News, obviously, because you wouldn't go somewhere that was actually going to ask any awkward questions, but we'll come back to awkward questions in just a bit. So what he was saying to a very sympathetic audience was, this is the type of fear of God that we put into people if they step out of line and say things as controversial as a man cannot become a woman. Yes, James Esses reacts to John Lewis selling sex toys and giving advice to trans children on using chest binders, because the thing that he's particularly fixated on is the notion of chest binders in the John Lewis article that he's been ranting and raving about. Leaving aside the spurious notion of whether or not a department store should sell things that he doesn't like. Think about that one, okay? It's a bit like going into Boots and arguing that they really shouldn't sell condoms because you think it's a bit unsavoury. Department stores sell a wide range of products, but James wants to link the two things, you see. Yes, in a kind of Graham Linehan, oh, aren't they all paedophiles kind of way, which actually, I'm sure, are unrelated. I'm sure that the selling of sex toys in John Lewis isn't directly related to children as far as a management concern would be. But never mind that now, let's just, throw that one out on the floor, because GB News viewers will lap that up. But I thought we'd actually look at the exact example that James is going on about in the John Lewis magazine, because yes, I have read it, because I do things like that, don't I? I actually look and find out. So in a piece on advice generally to parents, they interview someone called Anna. And it's a parent of a trans man explained to us why education around topics like binding is so important. A binder is always safer than the alternative. When my trans son was younger, he wore multiple sports bras and crop tops before he came out. We spoke about the harm he could be doing. We took advice from other trans friends on what charities to use, and then sat down and looked on reputable websites. Yes, and if you go on reputable websites, you will actually find the information that suggests that, provided they're used correctly, they are fine. But James doesn't accept that, because as well as not being a qualified anything, he's an expert on everything, including chest binders, because if we invent things in our head and then insist on them enough, then maybe people will believe them, especially if we get all those articles in the Mail and the Telegraph and on GB News, and we can do all of those things, yes. And then further yesterday, which I really had to smile at, was this notion of policing people, and isn't it dreadful that you can't say what you think? Right, and here we go. I've been contacted by a mother whose son started working in John Lewis retail. Within a couple of days, he was asked by a member of staff he was shadowing where his pronoun badge was. When he questioned whether it was mandatory, the response was no, but it's transphobic not to. Yes, reporting now on individual conversations, right? You can't have an individual conversation with somebody anywhere, because James is watching from above, and he will come down and decide that what you've said is wrong. Okay? Can't have a company policy which is to be inclusive. Bad word that. Don't want to be inclusive. Don't want to include all people. Imagine, James, if we included all people, included Jewish people. It'd be awful, wouldn't it? Inclusive is bad, isn't it? Oh no, not in certain circumstances, obviously. No, just in the ones that James has decided. Yes, James has also decided that modern art isn't something that he very much likes, and in that kind of sort of degenerate notions that the Nazis had, yeah, why not? Let's just go there, because if he can throw out those kind of things, I will as well. He's decided that a art exhibition that John Lewis has sponsored that has things in it that he doesn't like, and that therefore they shouldn't do that. So they shouldn't sell things, they shouldn't have conversations with staff without running it past him first, and they shouldn't sponsor any art events. I don't know why they don't just appoint him as the chair. I'm sure all of their retail worries would disappear. Yes, because James is very good with the whole notion of numbers and money. Now, a short while ago, he was parading himself as the head of the Declaration of Biological Reality, and even given all of this new publicity that he's garnered over the next few days, they still haven't managed to move that dial any further. It still hasn't hit 25,000 people. And it's not going to. It never moves, because that's the total number of nasty bigots in the country. You can't move it. However, what James has now done, what James has now done is moved his own particular financial targets. So we have 1 day to go with his new target, which is 200,000. It's moved. Yes, 1 day to go. It's going to be extended again. Of course it is. He's managed to get another 10 grand roughly in about the last 2 months, and now he's going to move it again. So his court case, where he'll definitely be proved about what a brilliantly right human being he is going to get kicked down the road. Yeah, because his job now is professional bigot. I think he should put that in his passport. Anyway, do have a lovely Saturday, won't you? I know that I will. I'm not sure that James will, though. Imagine being that godlike that you just have to worry about individual conversations that people are having in shops. You'd never sleep, would you? Might explain something. Anyway, do have a lovely day. It might not rain. Ooh.